Welcome to Soccer Gaming, and in this video I want to go over how gear score works, how expertise works, and kind of go through that so you guys can understand it and know how to raise your watermark. So if you'd like to watch that, stick around. So in New World, there's a system called the expertise system. Now it jumps up on your screen, lets you know what your gear score is. And the expertise refers to the maximum gear score of the particular item that you're trying to get. For example, if you have a helmet that is gear score 500, you kill a mob, that mob drops a helmet gear with a score of 510. Now the 510 is the new expertise for your gear score for your helmet slot. So moving forward, as long as you're killing the mobs and doing all these that are capable of dropping these items, you can get a higher and higher gear score. The same logic applies to all of your gear slots. Your light, medium, heavy armor all share the same expertise score, so keep that in mind. It's not light, you have a number, medium, you have a number, heavy, you have a number. It's a helmet all the way across the board, whether it's light, medium, or heavy, it's all the same score. And that score is governed by the item slot and not by the item type for armor. However, each weapon themselves has an independent expertise score, so you're going to have your hatchet have one, your musket, your bow are all going to have separate gear score or expertise score. So last thing to kind of tell you about it is the max level of expertise score of an item is 590, which allows you to earn drops from 580 all the way up to 600. So if you have a 550, you can go up to 551, you can go down to 543, it goes in the zones of 10. So if you're at 550, you could get anything all the way down to 540, or you can get anything up to 590. Usually it goes up like one or two at a time. Sometimes you can get even more from it, but that's how it works basically on the expertise scale. If you're wondering how the expertise system actually works, the expertise system kicks in when you hit level 60. So before level 60, none of this counts. But when you hit level 60, you're going to start getting your expertise. Your expertise sets at 500 base gear score. So once you hit 60, 500 is where you're at. And then you're going to gradually increase it to a maximum of quote unquote 600, even though it ends up being 590 on your screen. So as you can see on your screen here, basically each of these are their own individual thing, and you can see how they're set up for each individual thing. So as you can see on my armor, every single number is different on my armor because every single armor is different expertise. Same thing with my weapons. If I equip my weapons, you can see the same thing there. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. They're never really ever the same unless it's at 500 when you first start. So I also want to throw out that the item drops affect your expertise score as soon as the item drops. So if you kill a mob, if you kill a boss or whatever, and they drop something, it will automatically go up whether you pick it up or not. Now when it comes to elite chests, if you're picking up elite chests, you have to pick through the whole chest itself to open up the gear and then see the increase. But it increases right away, so you don't have to like equip anything, you don't have to do anything like that. You just have to pick up the item, or it has to fall from a mob. Another way you can increase your experience is a new way of Gypsum. Now, this is a whole nother topic itself. I'm going to do a whole nother video on this. So if you're watching this video and it's been out for like a month or something, I'll probably have a Gypsum video already out explaining how Gypsum works, how to get them. So I'm not going to go over that portion. However, before we go over the Gypsum, we're going to talk a little bit about other things that we need to know. It's important to know that you can equip items of a higher gear score. However, simply equipping the item, whether you purchase it or craft it, keep in mind you can craft a level 600 and that is not your gear score. It will not increase your expertise for that gear slot. So say you purchase a level 600 spear, your expertise does not go up to 590 or 600. It stays where it's at because you cannot craft or purchase something from the trade block, and it will increase your expertise score later on. And supposedly in 2022 they're supposed to change that. It's supposed to cut in half. So if you're at like 500 and you buy a 550 item, it's supposed to cut it in half to 525. However, that is not implemented yet as soon as this episode is released. And it is also important to note that not all the enemies and containers are created equal. Each level beyond 60 enemies have a soft upper limit on the likelihood of receiving expertise increase. Same thing with the reward containers, such as Outpost Rush will respect your current expertise, will also give you a small chance of increasing it. I've done it a few times. I've gotten increases from the Outpost Rush bundles. And in order to receive the consistent expertise increase, you want to follow the system reference on the video right now. From level 500 to 530, you're going to fight level 61 enemies. So if you're fighting a level 61 enemy and you kill him, you're not going to get something that's 600. From 530 to 560, you're going to have to fight level 62 enemies. Level 560 to level 590, you're going to fight level 63 enemies, and then to get up to that 590 to 600 mark, you're going to need to fight level 64 enemies. So you're not going to fight a level 61 enemy and get a level 600 gear score. So to jump back into the gypsum thing that I talked about earlier, gypsum is a way to guarantee an increase for a particular item slot. And again, I'm not going to go over the whole thing of gypsum. I'll go over it a little bit, but I'm not going to go over like how to get it and all that stuff. That's a completely different video. But the system is not fully random. Each time you defeat a level 60 enemy and you do not receive a gear item, that increases its expertise for that particular item slot. So you're slightly more likely to see an increase the next time. So say you kill an enemy, he's level 60 or whatever, and you don't get a drop. And you kill another enemy, don't get a drop. You don't kill another enemy, get a drop. The more enemies you kill, the more likely you are to get a drop. So you could kill 5, and then that 6 to 1, boom, you get a drop of like 505, and you increase your gear score. Also to keep in mind, enemies found near elite landmarks and expeditions have a higher base chance of dropping items that increase your expertise score. As do the level 60 plus named enemies, and expedition bosses will always drop an item that increases your expertise. It's also worth noting that the chance of receiving an expertise item from an elite chest is much higher than a drop chance from defeating an elite enemy. So you want to make sure you're running those elite chest runs. Those are going to be your best chance at getting an expertise level. So now the last thing to talk about is what is gypsum, how is this going to increase your level. So gypsum is a resource that can be found by doing a variety of in-game activities, which again is a whole nother video of how to get that and how to work that. But it can be crafted into gypsum orbs, which can then be crafted into gypsum casts. The gypsum cast is crafted for a specific type of gear, and when it is open, it will guarantee an expertise increase for the specific gear type, and you will receive an item of that type that will have the corresponding gear score. So if we take a look at it of how to do it, you go to the kiln, which you can find in about 4 or 5 different places. I can list them down below so that you know which places to go and get them. But you're like looking at like Reekwater, you're looking at in-game places, Shattered Mountain. And once you find the kiln, you're going to run up to it, and there's going to be the gypsum refining where you need so many orbs to be able to craft the gypsum orb. Now once you get that gypsum orb, you can go ahead and create the cast itself for whatever you want, whether you want to increase your hatchet, your ice gauntlet, your leg wear, whatever you want to do, life staff, whatever you want to do, the gypsum orbs themselves need to be broken down into casts. So as you can see on your screen here are the orbs, here are the casts. You're going to turn whatever orbs you can into casts. I believe they're on 18-hour cooldown limit, so once you get like the ruby, which is actually gotten from Outpost Rush, you can do Outpost Rush 2 of them a night and get 2 rubies, and those 2 rubies can be flipped into an orb. That orb can be then used into a cast, and 18 hours later you can do the same thing over again. So I want to go over some of the places you can go if you're not sure where to get the elite chests or where to find the elite battles. If you're looking for to increasing your score from 500 to 525, you're looking for the Elite 61 Plus, which can be found in Great Cleave, which is Mangled Heights, or Shattered Mountain. You could do the upper Svikin. If you want to go from gear score 525 to 549, you're looking for the Elite 62 places. That's going to be Ebon Scale. You could do Imperial Palace, and you could do Eden Grove, which is Maleficent. Again, a whole nother video over how these runs work, but these are the runs that you can run with people. If you run them, I would suggest running them in two groups. I believe the top two groups, when you're playing, if you have 5 groups, the top 2 groups stand the chance at getting the drop. So if you run with just 10 people, then everyone's going to stand the same exact chance of getting those drops. Now from 549 to 577, you're looking for the Elite 63 Plus, which is Reekwater, the Forecastle Drift, and then Shattered Mountain Scorched Mines. Then if we're looking for gear score 577 to 591, which is Elite 64 Plus, you're looking at the Reekwater Eternal Pool, you're looking at Reekwater Siren Stand, and then some other places that you can get gear score of 591 plus are going to be the Maleficent and Eden Grove, the Ebonscale Reach Imperial Palace, Ebonscale Reach the North Dynasty Shipyard, and then Shattered Mountain Merc Guard. And those are going to kind of be the places that you need to go. So if you are going through and all your gear scores above 525, there's no use in you running the Great Cleave Mangled Heights or the upper Svikin of Shattered Mountain, because they only allow gear score to go up to 525. It's also important to keep in mind that elite chests are on a 24-hour cooldown, so keep in mind the routes that you run and like how you run them. So make sure that you're paying attention to when you run something. So if you're running something at 9 o'clock p.m. and you come back the next day and it's 8:52, if you run through there, they will not be up for you yet. The elite chests will not be able to be grabbed because you aren't able to get them yet. So you'll need to make sure that you're following through and you see, oh, I ran this at 9:10. Today let's run it at 9:12. 2 minutes difference. All your elite chests should be up as long as you don't beat the timer for each chest. If you're wondering some other ways of getting some gear, you could do the portals. The 60 plus portals can increase your gear score. You can also do outpost rush, as I said earlier, to increase your gear score. Both things will also get you gypsum as well, which again you can turn into the cast and then actually increase your gear score that way. And the last thing I want to say about it is something I've been asked a lot about: luck. And higher luck does not directly increase the chance of you increasing your expertise. However, luck does improve your chances of getting rare drops when farming for higher expertise. So just because you have high luck doesn't mean you're going to be gaining expertise, but they will be dropping more bags and stuff for you to potentially gain that expertise. So again, luck makes them drop more, but does not exactly mean that their expertise is going to be raised. Very last thing is, beginning in 2022, the expertise system will allow you to increase your gear by buying off the market. And I kind of explained this earlier. Like if you are at 500 and you buy a hatchet that's 550, it'll actually drop down to a 525 hatchet. It will basically have it. And then as your hatchet increases, so like if your level's a 525 and you eventually raise it to a 545 expertise level, then your hatchet's going to be a 545 hatchet. Same thing. You get up to the 550 mark, then you're going to get that full use out of that hatchet at 550. If you go over 550 on the expertise, that hatchet stays at 550 or where you bought it at. So it will help you kind of a little bit if you want to buy 600s. It'll kind of divide that until you get up to that expertise. But if you buy a level 600 hatchet and your level's at like a 550, you're getting a 575 hatchet and not a level 600 hatchet. So keep that in mind in 2022 sometime. They haven't said when they're going to release it, but that's how it's going to work in 2022. Could be soon, could be months, nobody knows. So I hope this helped explain how gear score and expertise works. I get a lot of questions asking like, well, how do you raise it? How do you do this? And I hope I covered everything in this. If I didn't, make sure you comment down below. I'd love to answer any questions you guys have. I'm loving the support. Channel is growing. I love the content we're making. I think we're doing a fun thing. I think this is very helpful to people. A lot of people like it. If you do, comment that down in the section below. I'd love to know that this is helping you guys out. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Also, feel free to hit the red subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Slacker out.